G'day, everybody. I want to talk about healing and connection, and sometimes things will get worse before they get better when it comes to healing and connection, because truth can hurt when it gets brought up. But we need to heal from truth, don't we, people? And we need to heal massively, because a few of us healing here and there does not fix the problem, does it? It's a massively thing. So we need to get points to help us heal massively, right? And so I'm going to throw out the best that I can and what I've learnt in my life. When it comes to me as an Australian person that's not my country, as I could say, wasn't with my parents weren't born here, right? Some people might have their parents born here, but not their parents born, right? But when it comes to me, I've got a parent that was born here and a parent that wasn't, right? But anyway, besides all that, I can get into that later. I want to talk about how I feel. So I'm a person that was born here, and my father come over here when he was a kid, English, and my mum's mum come over here when, and they're English too, mostly, right? We've got a bit of other things in us too, a bit of Irish and whatever, right? But mostly English. That's where we come from before Australia. So that's why I say the things I say sometimes about, am I Aussie or English? And I say that not because where I am, because you should be where you're born at, your place, shouldn't you? But maybe you can be born young and move on and be something else, because you end up being like them, right? So that's how you class you're that. So I class myself as an Australian more than an Englishman. I do, as I was brought up here, and I related to the natives here as well, which is the Aboriginal people. Anyway, I want to talk about a story of theirs, the rainbow serpent. And a rainbow serpent come here to teach them things, and did, way back in their day. And they've made a story about it, so they can learn, maybe in the future, or learn from the story. That's why we do stories, to spread things. And in the rainbow serpent, he taught them things, showed them how to connect, and showed them how to dance and stuff like that. And they got jealous of that. That jealousy that all humans have, even animal species can have it. Depends on how bad it gets, because we all have lots of traits: love, jealousy, greed, and all those kind of things, and we need them all to be the human we are, I guess. Because if you delete one, then, or go too much in one, then you could be a totally different thing. It's trying to balance those things out, getting it right. And so the more things that we have problems of us, the harder it is to balance that out to get it right. True. And in the rainbow serpent, they end up killing it while it was asleep, because of jealousy. And all beautiful colours and all the rest of the story comes out, and they got chaos and bullshit. It's their story of fucking up back in the day, like how we have our story in the Bible, and lots of other stories around the world, because we've all done it, and we all go through such punishments, don't we, in different ways, because we do things differently in the end, don't we? And so we have different stories. But back then, the Aboriginals failed. They caused havoc. And they haven't got a story where they've fixed that yet, have they? Right, that's a future story to come when it comes to the rainbow serpent, to fix their sins from back then. Like when it comes to the Catholic people killing Jesus, they thought they fixed their sins, everything got better, but where's the story? It hasn't. Nothing's changed. In fact, things got worse, right? Or if not the same, isn't it? Not much better, and if it did, not for long. Right? Because we do things collectively. Our outcomes we live in is because of our collective outcomes. Right? So now that we're also connected, so it takes longer when we're not so connected because of that. Because it try to change your way over there, and you can't do it all at once. It'd take forever, doesn't it? And you may not. It may take for ages just to change them. But it'd be good if you can get everyone to see the same thing, isn't it? That's what we are today. We're connected now. Right? That's why I'm speaking. I can put up on YouTube or whatever, and lots of people can see it if they want to. If we want to heal, if we want to listen, we can now. Really easy. And we can spread it pretty damn quickly too, right? we can spread the word back in the day pretty quickly. Got around to start things. We can definitely do it today, can't we? So I want to talk about healing again, and today, and where the Aboriginals, what they talk about. So we try to do our best. So we do have people who are convicts, whose ancestors did do the problem, right? If you look back in the family trees, so if you get these family trees made up in the future, we'll find out. We can go back and then you can point fingers if you want to and go, your ancestor, right? So maybe these family trees wouldn't be good on that part, but you do need certain things to heal. And if they do get angry like that, we need to still heal through it. It's all about healing, isn't it? Because once we heal, we can move on. Because we're always angry and go over there and just whinge, because that's what you see a lot these days. Everyone just letting it go and keeping the anger in, and the next generation tries, and then all that kind of stuff. When we just need to just get our shit together and go, why can't we just sit here, see a clip, and then spread that around and go, okay, that's the truth, we know that, and just start doing those things, right? And go, all right, that is right. Why can't we put all these clips together and get it right worldwide, where we all agree to these clips and go, yep, that is the right thing, that is the way of doing things on the land and that, and we have it in a world clip view thing where everyone should be doing, this is what we advise, this is what will get us along best, this is the best of planting these, this will help you with more money, and just share basic stuff. It don't have to be when it comes to technology kind of thing, but when it comes to pricing with that, it should be a little bit more different, because when it comes to technology and you don't share, you can price whatever you want, what you own when it comes to, because they want it, they want to feel cool, they don't want to be missed out, and that's how pricing can go up too much too, if you don't share technology right. But if you share technology, the pricing will just be, you'll make money, and it's the same for everyone, instead of a ridiculous amount for him for that, and he'll put it down when he feels like it. That's not right. But back to the healing again, is that back in the day I've talked about how I connected with the Aboriginals, right? And used to have to go, after school, be with them a little bit, because my mum did that kind of work, so I went there with them. And how I used to feel. And they used to go, well, are you Aboriginal? If you're not Aboriginal, you shouldn't be here. And that's true in this area, I could say, because it was government funding. The government was only helping the Aboriginals, which is, in a way, racist, isn't it, people? When you only help one group and not the other. If you got a good excuse why, is fine. And our excuse is what we did to them back in the day. But the taxpayers' money is coming from Indians and Africans and people like myself that never did anything to them. And so they're paying for something that's, really not quite right when it comes to that, isn't it? Right? And that's why some things should be just let go, because then people will get upset. And imagine that we got over that, which we did. And then the Aboriginal people, over 20 years of these extra benefits, or 15, I can't know exactly how long it's been, and they still haven't changed massively. In fact, they got worse, because how sometimes when you give out money because you felt sorry, when you feel sorry for people, they always say you shouldn't feel sorry for them, you shouldn't give them extra benefits because it can laze them off, they expect more. That could be happening, right, when it comes to the Aboriginal people here in Australia, right, and now they feel like they want more and more and more, right. When I think about it, and when it comes to really common sense and the right ways to do things, as the, our Western society is more talked about, is that you shouldn't give out benefits, definitely if it's not working too, and you can prove that it didn't work and it didn't really help, and these people want fair rights. If you want to talk about fair rights, then things need to be fair, isn't it? Because if there's not fair, then we'll always have unfair, because we think we need to treat you like that, we need to treat you like that, and we shouldn't, right? There's no reason. We didn't just have the latest war, right? Like if you just took their place out, like say, if Israel was found guilty of doing what they did was totally wrong, which I agree is, they have to fix up the problem. They'll have to pay for things, fix up what they damaged. There was no reason, if they can't prove there was no reason to come in and destroy the whole village and town to find someone, the dude left, and they knew the dude was going to leave anyway, then what was the reason to blow up the town? Just because you wanted to? Because when you look at it, that's what it's like, isn't it? You knew that this was going to go. We can prove that this wasn't going to work, blowing up the town, and yet you did it. You punished all the people that might have elected a person, and that's not their fault. And we know that when you elect a person, how do you get them out and they won't leave? It's not their fault, is it? Definitely if they wanted them out. And then they're held captive and scared, so they'll allow this person, like a Hitler did, to do things in the street and they won't say anything. It wasn't the people. It was just because they got trapped with the person they elected, and the people around them didn't really want to help them with getting rid of him for real and just hunt him down. Like, how is it hard to find out where he is or where he's communicating from? Find the communication and trace it back. Everything can be traced, or he'll stop using it. And then if he stops using it, he won't do too good. You understand? There's lots of ways to get through things when it comes to that. Anyway, I've got to get back to healing. So back then, like I said, they used to think that I should be Aboriginal and all that, being there, or am I half Aboriginal and all that kind of stuff, to get the benefits that they were getting, because my mum was picking them up after school and helping them with their education. This was the extra benefit that the government was giving them at the time. So hopefully it worked for them. I don't know the full outcome of it, but that's what we were doing. And so hopefully these kids have gotten really good education. I'll have to go back to the group over in Albury here that I used to go hang out with and find out who went there and go have a chat and see how we all went. You know, you look back on things and go, so how did all the extra government benefits that you got? I didn't get any extra government benefits. And we can talk about how we're different and how we've healed differently. Are you healed? Do you feel good? Did it help you? And all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Because that helps with healing, right? That's why what I'm doing now is I want to connect, and I'm learning their stories, and I want to understand them. And like I said, I don't want to bag them too much, like using the rainbow serpent. That's why I thought, hang on a second. That's why I thought I'd use the rainbow serpent and pretend that I was like the rainbow serpent. You see how they would react. Barks for it, that's the connection I want, and I'm achieving it as far as I'm concerned. But we'll see if the racist theories come out. I'm not saying I am rainbow serpent, but we look up to things. So if you act and look up to something, then you're just like it in a way, aren't you? That's what we all try to treat. Right? Hey, baby! Don't you take out the plant. I'll come out and give you some food soon. Yeah. See, baby, just like that. I had to hand raise and let go once. Done it to two of them. And I called her Tweet. And she used to go, damn, meow, meow, with her wings like my babies do here, to communicate when I used to go feed her some worms in the bathroom and I raised her one time. And she took about 3 days to fly away. Put her out there and she knew how to fly. And she'd land up here and fly around, and then she ended up flying off, and I've never seen her after that. So sometimes when I see one just like her, I go, is that Tweet? So anyway, so sometimes you got to be cruel to be kind of thing. So when it comes to benefits and you know it didn't work and they want to be equal, you got to treat them equal. You got to be equal. So maybe taking the benefits away it can help them in different ways. It can also tell them that they can go, yep, we can be equal when it comes to the pay. We'll get through it. We've healed. We're not going to be like the old generations. We're not going to whinge and whine. If he can do it on that pay, we can do it too. And you make the pays equal. There is no extra benefits for certain people unless you got an illness, unless you got something for real, right? And that's what extra benefits are for. That's fine. And I'm not saying that Aboriginal people don't need benefits. They do need benefits. They will need benefits to get their race back on track. But giving them extra money, I don't see how that works. They're putting the money into extra areas, so where they are, and giving them hospitals and giving them places that they can able to use and do it more their way, so they can't go backwards. See, they can't restart. When they go to restart, I've thought about this too, is that, and they're doing it already, they're allowed to go, they can go out bush, they can try to find themselves. But if they go out bush, and I've seen some clips, and they just raise their kids the old ways, they're gonna become village people, like tribe people that we do have around the world that we don't go near. There's an island too that throws spears at people and stuff like that you can watch. And you can't, and when you go backwards like that, that means you have to be designated over there because they're dangerous, right? They can't mingle because they don't know our ways. So to mingle, you need to know the ways and respect those ways, isn't it? To mingle. Otherwise, you have to better stay over there and you'd be treated as dangerous, like a lion and stuff like that. and these people do get dangerous because you can't communicate, and they have their own ways and rules, right? So when it comes to the Aboriginals, they need to start from there. They know all that, and they know the education that we've taught them already as well, and they just need to mingle that. So they can have tests. If it might take a while, if they want to find out how they would have naturally did things, they could start off, back like they're a tribe in a studied test, and then see if they can mingle up and see how they changed, and that's doing it that way. It's a test, but it's not a true test. The true test is that it's got to do it collectively, right? And what is done is being done, and what you know is what you know, and you just need to mingle them and go, look, we need time off. In a few years, however long it takes, this is what we're doing, and at the end of the trial, this is what we're going to release. This is what we're going to say. This is what we're going to be, right? And then go from that. That's how I see it. So you go, this is our art and culture. It's not so cool back in the day, but this is how we do it now. And you can have your people use the old tactics. This is how we upgraded, and put in their own little theories with it. A little bit like what I've done, how I changed it, but it's a little bit like the old, isn't it? And then over time, if they kept doing that every 50 years in certain generations, right, you get upgrades, and you can still see the old traits of things there. And the people themselves will keep what they feel is best for them, what they feel is them, their new them. They'll feel it, right? And so the best traits will always stay, isn't it? As you look back, and some things we can look back, we still do some things like Americans with how they present their money and stuff. It's old traits in with the new, right? And they kept their best. So what do you reckon? And if you got rid to equal benefits, I know it'll help right now. People trying to pretend they're half-breeds and stuff like that do get benefits, which is a problem, isn't it, when it comes to scamming? So if there's no benefits, that'll get rid of that part altogether, and just put to the benefits to the people who actually need the help. And then all that money that instead of giving it all out now would be a lot of money there to put into the sectors that actually need help, and just make these buildings, these places, these access, these ways, right? And the Aboriginals, like I said, the Aboriginals do need a place to start. I do agree with that, an area where they can have their rules, like the Indians have sort of done. And as long as we can agree with it, as long as it's not too barbaric, where we can't have white men going in there because they say no white man, too barbaric rule. But they could have their own sort of rules. Definitely, if it's got to do with science and experiments. Like if they wanted to have marijuana or some other plant, they could, as long as it proves that it's not making it worse for them, right? And they can realise over time anyway if it is. And we'll only ever whinge if something's bad. That's how we get along, isn't it? And they can whinge to us what they find is bad, hurting them. So anyway, the best way to connect is when it comes to things like that. And to be truthful. You got to be truthful, for sure, right? And try to treat everyone equal, except the ones that really need benefits. If they've got a broken leg, you help the ones with a broken leg kind of thing, you know what I mean? I don't know what else to say now. What else can I get out? Look at Black Betty's come out today. There she is. Hey, Black Betty. You coming out and say hello? You doing your web? Oh, that's good. She doesn't often do it when I'm out. Oh, there's a fire. Did you see that? See that? She's seen the fire, so she went, she didn't totally take off though because she's noticed the flies. Here's the fire. Hopefully you'll get it. So you want to come out and fix your web? And I like to talk to animals. It's not crazy, but that's just how I see things. Right? And I'm older now. I'm nearly 40 in a couple of years, right? I'm turning 39 very soon. But I do like to have my inner child side when it comes to talking to things that we don't quite understand and still connecting to. Because that's how we connect with our young ones, isn't it? Yeah, what you doing? Are you okay? How you look? Right? What you working out? She's working out she wants to get this fly here. And I've learnt that I don't try to step in at all unless I found that she hasn't eaten, which I did once, and went out and got there was a whole heap of flies out there, and I did the best way of natural and put a container over, and then put a container over here, and a few got in there, and the rest got the fly away. Right? But when I was a kid, I used to pull their wings off flies and then feed the spiders, because I wasn't educated about a lot of things yet, as we were still learning. And you hear things, but you go, yeah. You know how it goes. It takes a long time to change, just like the things I'm talking about now. It takes a long time to change, doesn't it? And another quick thing I'll chuck out. So when it comes to who should do the right job and what racist is, see, people like to use racist all the time to get what they want. So when it comes to the right job, and I do understand that, if you're trying to get your race started and that is, and you want to connect with your people, it's best to have your people in there. I do understand that. But if you can't do the job, and other countries do that, they bring over people from countries to help them build buildings and plants and certain things, right? Because their people aren't fully qualified. They need a little guidance and help. And so if you use racists all the time, because this is what happened with my mum back in the day a little bit, or that's what I heard. It could be just a story. We'd have to check it up for real back again, because I'm going off memory from 20 years ago, right? But as far as I'm concerned, my mum had problems because of racism, because they thought that she shouldn't be there because it was an Aboriginal sector and stuff like that. And she was an Aboriginal, and they preferred to have an Aboriginal in their job. But my mum was hired in the first place is because they didn't have an Aboriginal to fill her shoes. So that back off, don't need that please. But you nearly put it into the web then, didn't you? Maybe I should have left you there. Eh? The Black Betty tried to get the fire then, and the fire nearly went into the web just as Stella snapped out of here. So we end up having an issue with all that in the end, and my mum stopped doing that work. I wasn't quite sure what it is, but by my memory, as far as I'm concerned, it was because they wanted an Aboriginal in that spot. So I think they got to a point where they had an educated Aboriginal. I hope so. But in a lot of cases, people get kicked out of spots because of that kind of problem and put in a person that's not as educated and stuff. And I know when I drove past there many years ago, when I was driving around, I checked out the place and it looked exactly the same, and like it wasn't getting used or anything. So hopefully the place still gets used the way it was. Maybe the government funding stopped, or they got a better building. Because you always hope when you look back that things aren't the same, definitely if it's programmed to make things better or worse, would you? Because if it is, that means you need a change. Because without change, nothing will ever change. So if something's been around and it's not working, it needs a change, doesn't it? Because you can talk about how it didn't work and why it's not working, even if it nearly did. And a lot of people say that all the time. Oh, it nearly worked, right? We'll just keep on going with it. Now, it needs a change, right? Because if things work, it should work sort of quickly, right? Simple, quick, yeah. And hopefully, and if it's more confident and simple, is by being more truthful, like having all the money the same and stuff like that. See, that made it more simple, less money, and less problems with people trying to be half-breeds and stuff like that. That's the things we need to really think about. You need to always go higher when there's problems occurring. So I'm not going to give everything out at once. And I'm trying to word myself without getting into trouble, without seeming racist myself to the ones that may be not quite educated, because that's how we need to talk. We need to talk to people and try to get people to see things to the lowest educated person that we might think that might be out there, right? So they understand, because not everyone understands how we present things and talk about things. Like when it comes to them getting their rights of speech and that, we're having a problem when it comes to how we connect, isn't it? Because if we connect quite well and we're getting along well, it'll be easy to give them what they want, isn't it? But if we're fighting a lot and not getting along, then it's not easy, is it? Right? See, I've had bad experiences when it comes to Aboriginals. I've had good ones too. I've dated one, Stormy, back in the day when I was a kid, and got along with them quite well. Kids usually do, as kids that they don't often fight unless the other parents are more racist and tell them to. Don't hang around with a white kid, They might have problems then. And that's what we get when it comes to racism and problems. If the parent hasn't healed, they'll pass their non-healness really to the kid, because they teach them the non-healed ways of thinking, right? And then that kid comes either worse or the same and would have the same problem. I got unfair, my generation got unfair, do you get it? Because the other parent was talking about it and never healed. And so it gets passed on and it keeps on continuing. So that needs to stop, right? We need all parents all the adults definitely to show them the right way. Because when I used to go, I used to walk around the streets a little bit and do what we did when we were kids and younger. And I did it up here at Dean Street just before, just when I got back from Melbourne. I went to Melbourne for a few years and got back. And I was hanging out with my mates and went for a walk and that, and I was drinking some alcohol and carrying some alcohol bottles, straight bottles, in a bag. And I had some Aboriginals come up to me in groups. They were in groups at that time. It's a while back now. You could probably look it up in thing. They were in Dean Street for a while. They took over Dean Street, and and I ended up having a group of people because they were already battling with a few people. So that's what got me out of this situation. But I was walking up the street. Next minute, I got a couple of these adult ones that looked like they're in their 20s or 18 or so, right? And then right down to kids that were 4, or probably haven't even started school, being smart asses walking around the street going, what you doing? This is our country, blah, blah, blah. Back then, right? This is back then, and this is this group. And these groups is what makes it worse for all the other groups, isn't it? And what's the best way to stop these groups? Is it us people fighting back, which I'm about to talk about in a minute, or is it their own people? And as far as I'm concerned, if you're having a racial problem and stuff like that, you definitely need your own people to step in the most, because they'll listen more their own than the other people, because it becomes a war. Just because they won't listen to the other side. They think they're bad. That I'm Aboriginal. I know what I'm talking about, and you're wrong. I need my own people to change me and to get it. We need someone who's our wisdom for us. And that's when it comes to the Aboriginal people. Who's all their wise ones? Is their wise ones getting onto them more? Do they need more wise ones? Right? To get their own people back into line. Is there ways of thinking and how they treat people and the ways they do things, is that needs to be tweaked? There's always somewhere you need to find. And time and history tells us that. That's why we're meant to learn. And if we don't look at time and history and don't learn it, then we're not going to learn it. We're bound to repeat. And that's why we repeat a lot, people. If you see repeats and you look back and you go, things are same or repeating, is because we haven't sorted that issue for real. Simple as that. Someone may be making a benefit out of it too, which is a lot of cases these days, because of greed and envy, is they like to benefit and outdo and put in classes. Right? And that's one thing we need to get rid of, is classes. Right? We'll always have the reach, and you'll always sort of have classes, how people walk different, and private clubs is fine. That's all right. Right? But how much of all that? And we don't want to get to whole states like that and stuff, do we? Right? Can't come to this state because we're this and you're that. Right? The better we can connect and move on to all that kind of thing, the better life you have. You really do. I'm starting to learn that myself. You just tune out. If it's too much hassle and bullshit, why deal with it? And if we all get like that, then there shouldn't be no bullshit, should there? Once we've all properly healed. And we all get to the healing stage sooner or later. There'll always be chaos, as we're always learning, right? So chaos should always come from the youngest, mostly. And it'll be the oldest that always keeps things in line. It used to be like that back in the day, and it sort of is today, but it's not, is it? We're not even treating the oldest with respect as we could, as we don't give them rights or anything when they get to a certain age, when they should still be able to have rights if they've had kids and stuff like that. Like we'd be locked them in, we wouldn't let them out. I couldn't believe that when that COVID come, that they locked up the old people here if they already signed contracts about other people looking after them, and you weren't allowed to pull them out, and you knew they were dying in there, and you could have pulled them out and had them more safer than them trying to put it under control, and you had to put everything into their shoes. That I felt was very taking away human rights when it comes to that. And that's because we went too far, isn't it? We allow things to happen. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I've been going for 28 minutes. And I can't blab too much out, right? As like I said, I'm trying to get somewhere. And what I'm doing now to try to get somewhere, because of the system that we have, people can easily copy this, who has a job already and stuff like that, and then steal it from me and have a laugh because I'm the idiot trying to get seen. How else am I going to do this? Should I make these videos and then make TV screens around and advertise it that way? How could I advertise the things I'm trying to say without doing what I'm doing now? Right? And most people who are loving connecting would talk, and I understand if people want to say what I said, go ahead, knock yourselves out. But just when you mention things like that, it's good to go, well, this is where I got this idea from. You think it's a good one, you think we'll go with it, instead of just seeing an idea, definitely from a person who's trying to get somewhere, like myself. That's why I keep mentioning that. You say, if you see something in it, come and see me, send me a letter or something, right? Find out, look, I'm at Wodonga, right? Pretty sure that you would find out where I live. Got a big tower there. If you drive down not far from the main street, you got the police station up here, right, and the court. You drive down that road. So I'm making it nice and simple in Wodonga. You will see that, and you will know where I live, right? And I want to get a job that doesn't make things worse. Got to start somewhere. It's better than nowhere. I'm hoping to get to the job I want to get, but it's better than nothing. And I am a little crook at the moment, but I can work well at home and doing what I'm doing, even when I'm crook. So that's why I want to get a certain job and try to work for myself, because I have cystic fibrosis, and it's up and down, and it can be up and down in a day too. It's like a weather thing, or I could be bad for weeks, like a weather thing. Anyway, people, have a good one, and bye bye.